Hello and welcome to the Indie Bandits Twitch channel and YouTube channel. Grab a seat, get yourself a drink and get comfortable because we're going to play a bit of Skullgirls as part of our Indie Impressions series. I'm Joe and I am joined by lover of fighting games, Archie.
Hello.
Obviously, tongue firmly lodged in my cheek there, Archie. There is You're not a big fan of fighting games, if I recall from our
absolutely
podcast.
Not.
No.
Absolutely not. There are a couple I don't mind because they're dumb usually. They're not very, well, I'm supposed somebody could find some level of, I guess, intricacies with them. I quite like Marvel vs. Capcom, but there's a very low barrier of entry for that one. I don't mind that. But other than that, I'm not a big fan of fighting games.
Yeah, and this one, Skullgirls, was your choice for our upcoming indie fighting games podcast episode, which is yet to be recorded. So I'll look forward to hearing more of your thoughts on the podcast.
There's not going to be very many of them, unfortunately.
Well, I don't know if you might have many thoughts. I just don't think they'll be very positive. I think that's probably fairer. But you said you like Marvel vs. Capcom, and when I was reading up a bit on this game, they did say that it was sort of an inspiration for it, but you've already played this a little bit, haven't you? And I guess it hasn't stuck.
No.
Right, well, should we jump into and see what the crack on is with this crack on? Where are we at? Local only? That's me on the left and you on the right?
Oh, certainly is.
You've decided. I already don't know what's going on, but we pick a team size, right?
Well, I went with one high-powered character just to keep it nice and simple.
Yeah, I'll do that as well.
I like this character. I like the design of this one because this is the only character here, from what I can tell, that isn't like the director's fantasy, I imagine.
You mean it's I can see this now that the characters are all a little fan servicey, I guess would be the way to put it. There's a bit of raunchiness going on.
The peacock kind of looks like a character, and everything else looks like, although well drawn and well animated, looks like a bit of a deviant art kind of a fan fictiony, fan servicey kind of.
Well, that character you've picked looks very. You're the expert on animation, having dedicated like 4 years of your life studying it. There's Is it Fleischer? The old styly, like with the big gloves and everything. It's
like, what's it called there? Like, is it Bosco or something? But like Felix the cat. I know what you're going for.
You'll have to tell me, pal. This is your level of domain. There is there's I'm no prude. Don't get me wrong, but
I am.
Yeah, this is quite on the nose, isn't it?
Yeah, you've got a lot of characters to choose from here, Joe. So
I know. I don't. I'm gonna do random because then, people can work out my kinks later on, I guess. So I've got double, whatever that means. I don't know what any of this means either. Press macro 1 or 2 to save. I'm just gonna hit the button and see what happens.
Like the drawing.
Oh, this looks cool.
The art is very well drawn. That's the best thing about this game, really. It's just how well everything's kind of animated and coloured and everything.
Right. Okay.
Sorry if you hear all the clickings. I'll try and get a. But with fighting games, it just becomes, for me, because I'm so fucking terrible at them, which is a part of why I don't like them so much, it's just, I just sort of like this thrashing the controller and like hoping for the best.
Yeah, I'm just pressing all the different buttons to see what they do. I think I'm like the everyone character. I think this is what I've ended up with here. See, I transform into what I can only assume are like the other girls.
Right. Let's stop fighting for a second, because I find this generally more interesting.
Let's negotiate a peace. We've been at this for 15 seconds. We're done.
Look at this character I'm playing as Peacock, the one on the left. Look at this lovely walk cycle. Look at that. How cool is that? Look at this. Got one for going backwards as well.
It's really weird, the backwards one. It's
so good that they didn't just get the forward one and just like reverse it or just play it again. Like, they've got a unique one for going backwards.
What I like is the fact when she's walking forward, she has her eyes shut, but when she walks backwards, she doesn't, which doesn't really make much sense.
Nice spot, yeah.
This character's cool.
She's keeping herself cautious because she wants to know where she's going. Like, oh, gotta keep your balance, but you know, she's walking forward. She's used to doing that. She's like, I can be more like lackadaisical about me walking.
Yeah. Oh no, I can turn into you by pressing square. See that?
Yeah, that's pretty cool. See how awesome is that? Look at the.
I chuck a pie at you as well. Look, and it falls on the floor. That's cool. I can shoot you as well. Right, let's chin each other. Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt that this is a nice looking game.
So there you go. I've just got you in a corner now, and I can just spam this.
No, but reading about this, I'm fairly certain there's like they've taken measures so that like you can't like auto combo. If you get me, like there's no not auto combo. You can't infinitely combo. There is like a way for you to break out. I am going to hit lots of buttons though. Oh, that was cool.
See, I've seen the reviews on this, and as far as I'm aware, it's very highly rated. So that only goes to tell me it's either an excellent fighting game, or it's fulfilling a lot of fan service fantasies for some of its fans. So it's doing a bit of both. But let's be a bit kinder to it and say there's an excellent fighting game. It's just like I'll never know if it is or not, because I'll never ever like be able to put the time in to like understand the intricacies of what makes this like a good fighting game. Because I don't have a fighting game background. I don't really play them. So
yeah, it's
even
not.
If it is good, I won't know because like it would take me time to get good. And I'm a busy man. I can't be bothered to do that.
Yeah, it's not. I guess you'd say. Oh, I did something cool there. I guess it's not accessible as a way. I mean, like we're playing it, but like, are either of us getting good at it? No.
No. Am I thinking about what's going on? Not really. Like,
what happened? Timer ran out, I guess.
Oh yeah, shit.
And I'm the winner, maybe, because I look like a nun, and you are not, because you look all rattied. Should we change characters? I'll do another random one. Yeah. So upon reading it, should we do two high-powered characters, whatever that means?
Let's go. I think this is the tag team element coming into it.
Yeah, very Marvel Capcom kind of deal there. I'm gonna go random again. I've got select assists. I'm gonna just go with the default. And I've got someone called Pinwheel, who happens to have a big pinwheel on their butt.
Which character will be the least embarrassing to play as if I get caught playing this?
Which of these characters is most suitable for your mum walking in on you?
Exactly. I'm gonna go with Doll, because
it's just a big amorphous blob.
Exactly.
Well, from what I read on the like reviews and stuff, like the animation and the mechanics were the key things that like people loved about it. I'm still gonna just do random. And initial complaints were against a limited roster of characters.
Yeah, it seems very small.
But they've since, I think they've since increased that. Ooh, I can bite. I mean, it does like the animations.
Oh, look at the.
Do
I mean, just
brilliant.
Look at the art of it. Like the character design aside, I'm not a big fan of the character designs, but like, how they move and all that, and how well they're actually drawn, and how well they animate with relation to the attacks you're doing, it is really pretty fucking cool. So you've really, I mean, I'm like joking on this game for being like a bit dirty and all that, but
little saucy.
Yeah, like there is a lot of skill on what these artists and animators put into this as well, and how precise it is tied to kind of each of the attacks as well. That's like superb.
Yeah. Still don't know what the hell I'm doing, but there's one complaint I have with fighting games is that like, so we just both wanted to jump into this and have a go, yeah?
Yep.
So we can and we can just button mash and be shit. And and we might kind of like work it out. And if you play a lot of fighting games, there's probably a few combos you can try that always do something in like every fighting game. You know, like quarter circle, whatever. You know, there's a few common tropes for combos, and like pressing forward a couple times is normally your dash, etc. But to get the most out of it, instead of like jumping in like we did, which is what you want to do with a game. Instead, you've got to like hit the pause menu and look at the like lists and start reading shit. And
oh no,
I'm not anti-literacy or anything like that, but I'm just thinking like maybe when I play a game, I don't want to have to sit and like read before I play it. You know, and this seems to be like
playing a game to me shouldn't be like homework. I'm not against a game that's challenging or where you need to like learn a few things in order to get good at it. Like, I love that idea, but I think fighting games are kind of like they throw you into the deep end and expect you to catch up, which again is fine. But I mean, I guess it's just that I just don't care about playing fighting games. I'm just not inclined to go and like learn those things. Like, you know me, I fucking hate tutorials. I just hate like games where the first 20-30 minutes is just you just learning how to play, and it's like your first like hour of the game should probably be like something super engaging. But no, a lot of the time it's like, oh, here's the tutorials, and and it's all like fourth wall breaking because they're saying jump by pressing the action button or something to that effect, you know. So at least games fighting games don't do that. I mean, there's a training mode you can go into as a separate thing to what we're doing now.
Yeah, but I feel like, I don't know, for me, fighting games used to be, like, back in the day, it'd be something like, if you had, like, siblings, you'd pick up a fighting game, you know, you'd go into town or whatever, let's do 3 characters, let's just up the ante even more, you'd get a fighting game and you'd get it home, yeah? And, you know, you'd be like, I don't know, maybe you'd be, like, reading the instructions on the bus, and like learning and memorizing a few of the combos, perhaps. But now, because like, you know, games are digitally distributed, you don't have that moment. Like the bus home from town with a new game, I would read like the instruction manual cover to cover, you know, just like literally hype myself up about the game I was about to play when I got home. And now, because you don't do that, I haven't read all the characters like combos and moves or anything like that, so we're just jumping in a bit of it's lost. So I'm wondering if these games are like sort of suffering for it. Like maybe these games not were better in the 90s, but the 90s was better suited to these types of games because of obviously the things I just mentioned.
I don't know, like, I'm speaking for a very ignorant point of view, but I think a lot of these games probably all just work in a very similar way. So if you're good at like, I don't know, like Marvel vs. Capcom, I can't imagine the moveset. Like, there'll be different types of moves, but like high kick, low kick, medium kick, all probably going to be more or less the same buttons. And there's only so many combinations you can have with like a controller, so...
Yeah, but you can make them longer and more complicated, can't you?
You can, I guess,
I think that's what people do.
But that to me doesn't constitute as being like fun, like just having this memory banking or your movesets, like...
Yeah, it's not like an expert on the genre, but from what I've seen of the genre, of like watching, like I've watched some interesting videos. There's some good YouTube channels on like fighting game culture and stuff. And even though I'm not like into the games myself, I am actually really interested in like learning about them and what like makes players tick, essentially. And the idea is that like normally you have this like risk versus reward, like better moves are harder to pull off. And you as the player, like, have to decide, am I going to put in this, like, difficult button combination? You know, which might leave me vulnerable, and it's about, like, choosing which moves to play at a given time based on, like, a number of factors, like range, like how close you are at the minute. To me, like, there should be certain moves I should be, like, pulling out the bag, which I didn't, because I don't know any of them. But, there's a wee cat thing on the ground. I don't know.
That's great. I love that. So cool.
Oh, bopped you one there, big styly. And yeah, you're supposed to be like deciding, like which moves to pick. So like, you know, I'm at the long game. So yeah, it's like, but I don't really want to have to like research and study this. To be able to like have a couple of quick games with me mates. There should be a level to it where like I just feel like you can't get that much out of them immediately. I think that's where they suffer. There's there's a lot of games, and I think there's a lot of hobbies in every sense where you've got to be really you've got to be willing to put the time in. You know, you could talk about like learning a musical instrument or anything like that. All of us would love to pick up a guitar and just be amazing at it right off the bat. But, you know, and most people who pick up a guitar once to be like, well, this isn't very fun. And I feel we might be the same with fighting games. We have to put the time in. But
it's like,
They're presented in a way that you can't.
Like, I'm terrible at fucking, like, car games, like, but I don't mind car games because I think the base of what you're supposed to do is, like, immediately clear, and if you've got, like, you know, a little bit of common sense, you can still probably compete pretty fairly. So I don't mind that, but with this, it feels like I'm just button bashing.
Yeah.
like with
a racing game, you've got go, stop, and steering. Like, whether or not you understand the intricacies of driving is not that important because you understand, like, essentially the 4 directions you have to go: forward, backwards. What the hell was that?
This isn't a problem exclusive to this game as well. This is, like, the problem I have with all fighting games. Like, it's that, like, I can't just bring this round, or Jody, want to have a couple of rounds on Skullgirls or Tekken or whatever it might be, because, like, you know, like, if I knew something about the game and you didn't, then I'm just probably gonna win every time.
Yeah,
you're like left thinking, what's the fucking point in this?
Yeah, there's a few games that are like these fighting games. I think are like one of the first genres that you'd pick up and be like, you know what? This is the go-to game when you have a couple of friends round. Like it should be the game. If I was having a games night and had to like put together a short list of games to have at it, a fighting game would be one of them because theoretically should be able to just pick them up and 2 people have a go.
Yeah.
Which we can, but that's only if 2 people have exactly the same level of experience. Yeah. So maybe this would work if I was like doing a showcase of fighting games or a showcase of, well, you know, any games around. Then I could I'm going to include a fighting game, and it doesn't matter, but I'll not play it because it's my fighting game. If you get me, if I own the game, it's not really something where I can go, "Here, guys, I've got Skullgirls. I'll not play it because there's just no point because it's my game and I've played hours of it or whatever."
Yeah.
Whereas, like, maybe with a racing game, you could, because, you know, I think with a split screen racing game, you can always go, "Well, I'll be the really slow car and you can be really fast car," and maybe there's some like handicap systems in this to
possible,
you know.
But even then, look at it this way: like, we're the exact same skill level here, and I wouldn't exactly say I'm having fun playing this, you know, because I'm just like, I guess this will be a move. I'll try that. Like,
yeah. Also, I'm wondering if maybe we, I don't know, maybe we lack the competitive drive to really. Like, well, I'm not a hugely competitive player. At least against me mates. Like, I am not gonna go home in a sulk if you beat me today because you're not. But no, but like there are certain games where I'll get like competitive about it. But when I don't know, if I don't feel I have a chance of winning, or I don't feel I'm very good at something, I'm not that bothered if I lose.
I just don't like these character designs, I'm sorry.
I think they're well drawn and definitely well drawn,
well animated, well coloured, everything like that. They all stand out very clearly from one another. That's excellent. I just don't like this look. This kind of like this crossbreed between like anime and like Western art. I just can't get on board with it. So that's just my personal taste. It's like, I don't mind that guy in the background though, the one with the top hat.
He's got an air of class to him, I'll tell you. I like that clarinetist. I also like these 2 dogs that are dressed like Street Fighter characters.
Those dogs are cool.
Is it Guile and Chun-Li? That's like an amazing touch.
That's great.
The artists who work on this game are like immensely talented. You can see that. But like,
we should just have like an animation showcase of this. Like,
did she? Sorry, I was just watching. Her breasts just exploded a thermometer. There's just like, I am, you know, I like sexy stuff as much as the next guy, but I just don't know if
your DeviantArt file.
I just don't know if it's necessary. It's a point where it's like, did that character need to be so overtly sexualized? I mean, I was gonna say, it's called Skullgirls, so I guess there's not really
you know, there might be some context to why they all look like this, and I apologize.
Some story-based thing.
I totally overlooked it, and I'm being a big ignorant dickhead, kind of like, you know. But I just kind of doubt it, to be honest.
I think the design, first and foremost, is they're sexy, and then everything else is like after that. You get me? Like, they're gonna be sexy first, and then everything else afterwards.
Well, what came first, the sexiness of the game idea?
Upon research, it was the sexiness. The character designs were something that the main guy had been like working on since school or something like that. And I'm like, this is a little character designs of a adolescent boy right here. I'll tell you that. Having been one myself many moons ago, I can sort of see what was going through this dude's head as he was designing these characters.
Yeah,
and I think it was a lot of hormones.
I get that as like a young lad growing up and everything, but when you mature, surely this stuff becomes a little bit cringeworthy, maybe.
Yeah, it's like watching this. Talking about the walk cycles before. This character has like a ridiculous walk cycle, like
big hands. Yeah, let's have a look.
Yeah, like
how good is that, man? Look at that.
The animation's great, but does she need to walk with like with her boobs hanging out, basically?
I was just liking how the big left hand was just like beckoning
you on, yeah. But I don't think that many people are looking at the big beckoning hand, Archie. That's the problem. It's I just like. Again, that's just a great artistic detail of this game. Yeah, all the animations. It is like, for me, it's mainly the character design that, like you said, you don't want your mom walking in on you playing this.
Well, I'm playing the game.
I'm just imagining, like, you know, like if I was at home and I was playing this and my mom came in, she'd be like, "What the fuck are you doing? What is this?" What is it? You know, my mom's no prude, no jokes, please. But
oh no, she's not well.
but you're like, I think even she would be like, "Come on, isn't this a bit on the nose?"
Like, I'm playing the game Catherine at the minute because we got a re-release on PS4 in the last couple of months. I can't remember when. And I love the gameplay of that game, but it kind of suffers the same problem. But I guess that's more tied into what the game's about. It's about this guy who, like, you know, cheats on his girlfriend, and I guess he's kind of like this bit of a creep as well in a certain way. But at the same time, it's just like you gotta kind of just like not get caught playing at the same time.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I'm quite the same with a few certain like anime series as well. There's certain animes where the fan service is like, I wouldn't be able to watch this, you know, in front of me family. It's like, even if it's not that inherently like raunchy, you just never know when something randomly overtly sexualized is going to get like thrown into the game.
I don't know what I selected.
I'm just doing random. You've selected one person. I'm selecting 3.
I'm gonna take you on then.
Do it.
This is the thing that annoys me about fighting games as well. So when you go to the moves list, it always just puts like the type of kick or the move it's gonna perform. The
not the button it's mapped to.
What fucking button is that? I don't know.
Why did she have a code on if she was just gonna take it off?
No, you can't fight with a code on you. That's gonna lower you.
I know that, but
see, I like these guys in the background. The fish people.
The fishmen, yeah. It reminds me of Street Sharks. Remember that?
I remember Biker Mice from Mars. I never saw it, but I did have a pencil case with Biker Mice from Mars.
I think everyone had a pencil case with... Oh, a head just came... I've got no head. Did you see that?
Oh, I did.
I've still got no head. I think I've got to go pick my head up or something. I don't know. No, I've got to kick my head at you. It's become sort of a...
Oh, okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, like, the gameplay is interesting. There's a load of interesting stuff you can do. Not that I know how to do any of it, but...
I mean, like, I like animation. I went on about the masterclass that's going on in front of us with animation at the minute, and it really is like how quickly, like how with so few drawings, how well they've just portrayed like the movement and the action, and you get a sense of how powerful it all is. And
yeah, and it's
got good, man. Like,
and it's a tough. You can correct me on this, but with animation, there's obviously like what they call not the tropes, man. The like golden rules.
Oh, the 12 principles.
Fundamentals.
The 12 principles. Yeah.
Yeah. So with those,
12, I can't remember.
From videos I've seen and about animation in games, you have to bend a few of the rules.
Oh yeah, all the time.
Because it affects gameplay, and with fighting games, that's one of the toughest one because I want the controls to be bitey. You've also got to kind of ignore what's the one of the principles? Anticipation.
Anticipation, yeah.
Yeah, and you've got to sort of ignore anticipation with fighting games because of the fact that they are.
Do, I guess, yeah. I mean,
because they have to immediately react. I learned how to fly with her.
Well, on this, I guess like the way she raises her fist, like a little quicker than. Is it kind of the same time? That's kind of like a little bit of anticipation, I guess.
But like quick, powerful moves. This last with the big arms on her head needs better equipment, better clothing, because this is not suitable to what she's doing.
I like the big arms on her head, though. I think that's such a cool idea.
I think that's lore related, right? I think it's got something to do with the. I didn't read it. I've just jumped in this and started slamming you with lasses with big arms on their head. But
I think it's. I think we should bring up the. I don't know too much about it, but the
elephant in the room.
The elephant in the room.
The scantily clad elephant in the room.
Yeah, like I think it's such a shame what's kind of happened to this game because it's obviously like. Well, I would get the
impression... That's a good
this
pose, sorry, but yes.
I get the impression that this is like a love letter to like fighting games, but it seems like it's just good. It's got this like this tar over it now. This goop because of like what is it? The creators like.
Yeah. Because we picked this maybe a couple of months ago. Might have been just around the time that this all came out, but when I was doing my research, having a deeks into what this was all about. What I read was that like the main guy, head designer, who founded the company that like made this Lab Zero, I believe it's called. Basically, I think it started with a streamer basically posting like some DMs from Twitter that this guy had sent her, and it like reads as. It doesn't make for fun reading. I had a look at it maybe about an hour before we did this, cool. and it's not like overtly gross. It's just like it's really like unnerving and creepy. It was almost like, dude, learn to talk to people. Like you, I think
he's made a game with people, so surely he has that ability to kind of like.
Well, here's the rub. Apparently, his behavior at the company was not very good either. It wasn't. This is the thing. It wasn't just say the stuff he said to this streamer. It was also some other shit going on where people were, I think where people were initially like, oh, I guess that's just him, that's the way he is. At least what I've read about the other people who later like quit the company over this. They were kind of like, he's a bit creepy, a bit like inappropriate, all this kind of stuff. And I think initially we thought like this isn't, this shouldn't be happening kind of thing, and but we didn't do anything about it, and now we're saying we should have done something about it because it's very weird, just like obviously I can't get this stuff up now because we're playing the game they made, but there was things like mentioning his genitals more often than needed to be, in inappropriate comments and
God.
Physical contact when physical contact wasn't wanted, and too keen on hugs kind of thing. These were from, off the top of my head, these were a few of the things. I mean, obviously, correct me if I'm wrong. I've read a handful of articles, and I don't know if it's first-hand information, but yeah, it got a bit messy, and it seems that like there was a lot of inappropriate behavior. It led people to leave the company. Then what really got me was, so I think another one of the studios or the publishers or whatever literally just like, this Lab Zero, we're having now to do with it, but we're not touching that shit with like a 100-foot pole, and like completely distanced themselves from this company, and the guy like refused to resign, and I think he like sort of like decided to just have a hill to die on and sacked everyone in the company, so the company still exists, but it's just him. When it used to be like 20 odd people, the company still exists, but it's a skeleton staff of 1, and it's him. So he's like sticking to his guns, and everyone who's been sacked has since went off and made their own company.
Oh, good for them, man. Good for them
And
for doing that.
yeah, you got 3. So
Yeah. I mean, you've got to think like maybe some of these people working on this game who were involved with like his like kind of behavior. Maybe it was their first like venture in the industry, and that's kind of like what they're immediately like in front of, And it's just like fucking hell, what a awful way to like maybe have your first gig or something like that, and you're like, ugh.
Yeah, you don't. And I bet you there's a part where you're a bit like, do I just accept this kind of thing? I'm surely there's a point where you want to just not accept what's going on, but you're also like fortunately, I'm very lucky to have never been in a workplace where anything like that's went on. But I've been in jobs where like the boss is not like sexually inappropriate, but abusive, and and you're like, it's not a place you want to go to, but also, man, it pays your bills, so you're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place, because in some cases you want to call them out and right the wrongs, in other places you kind of like, but man, I don't want to be the person that leads the company to shut down and everyone to lose their jobs. So yep. I bet you there's a lot of people behaving inappropriately, and sadly getting away with it because of the way the system works.
Well, I'm hoping like what you see in the industry these days, like I know one big publisher, basically Ubisoft from what I've read, like have gotten a bit of trouble for that, but they seem to be like, I'm not too up to date on what the details are, like, so if they haven't been taking good care of it, I apologise, but if they have, I mean, maybe a little too late, but I mean, it's trying to right the wrongs of like these people who are like so willing to take advantage of others.
Yeah, well,
like,
it hasn't been looking good for Ubisoft from what I've seen.
I mean, that's such a shame as well, because I always thought Ubisoft had a good like public face as well. I was never the biggest fan of any of their games, but they was kind of like were pretty, I guess, like agnostic towards a lot of things. They have their stuff on as many platforms as they can, so everyone can get a hold of it, and always seem to have like, I guess, a generally friendly kind of atmosphere as a company, if you know what I mean. But to hear all the stuff that came out, it's a bit upsetting, really.
Yeah. I think it's more than just the games industry. There's this like horrible.
Oh, I mean, look at where the film industry has ended up. Like,
yeah.
Fucking hell, I'm glad they cracked down on that. Like, that sounded horrible.
But yeah, I mean, obviously being outside of it, you have no idea what's going on, do you? It's. I mean, hopefully, like I said, like we're still playing this game, and I think it would be. Well, actually, before we came on, I said to you, like, obviously, like, we're thinking about, like, should we still play it given what's, like, went on around this game, and I think it would be, like, a disservice to, like, all the other people involved in this project to ignore this project's existence just because one guy did some inappropriate stuff, and it's like, sadly, his name's still on it, and he's still like the head. He's credited as the head designer because, well, he was the head designer. That's like sort of you can't take that away. But if we were to like do something like boycott or cancel this game, then are we really hurting him, or are we hurting everyone else who worked on it?
Yeah, exactly. It's a difficult one, really, isn't it?
It's.
I've always been love the art, not the artist, but I can imagine even then sometimes, in some cases, that can become even quite difficult in itself. Like,
yeah, especially with games where they're such, even like indie games are such big projects. Unless it's like a solo dev, then it'd be very easy to go, one guy made it, one guy did this. I don't support what he does. I'm not playing it.
Yeah,
that would be easy, but even. Before we went on this, I had a look at the credits, and there are a lot of people credited on this game. Even from like the 20 odd people in like one studio, you've got testers credited, you've got the localizers, all these people that are like involved in getting the game from development to market. There's a lot of people who will have like this game on their CV, and And it's not fair on them. It's not fair on them to have a game on the CV where, like, you know, they'll go for interviews or for projects or whatever, and someone will go, "Oh, is that the game?" In there, like, "Yes, that's the game." Oh, you know, and it's like we said, the elephant in the room. People will like want to talk about it, and it's like, yeah, but you know what? Joe and Archie don't like it, but generally it's quite a good game. You know what I mean? Yeah. People tend to like it, and
do not listen to us for fucking criticism, like good criticism of this game in terms of how it plays.
yeah, we don't have a fucking Scooby-Doo what's going on in a fighting game. I mean, we've had 3 characters on this, and I can't remember exactly. I think it's X and square, maybe cross and square, whatever you want to call it, to swap characters out, but I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, I had that with all fighting games as well. Like, everyone says, "Oh, I love playing as
that was cool,"
or something, or "I love playing as Jack 2 from Tekken," or something. You know what I mean? But it's like, they all seem the same to me. And maybe that's, and I can just play them because I like the look of those characters more than anything.
Yeah, well,
and maybe that's what people are getting at, but I'm sure there's a bit more of a...
No, there's definitely like a
feel.
There's a feel in how the characters control and what they get up to and everything like that.
Like, in Whiteout, for instance, the racing game, I love the Pfizer.
Oh, it's the blue and orange dealie.
Yeah, I love racing in that vehicle, but in those games I can tell all the differences between the individual vehicles. But in this, I just don't have the, not the eye for it, but you know what I mean. But again, that's my problem, not a problem with the game itself.
So, are we being filmed? Is this the like in-game dealie? Because it says like take 1, take 2, and at the end, like.
Well, it's a weird thing, and Catherine has the kind of similar vibe. It's got like this TV aesthetic where, in Catherine, for example, there's a watermark in the top left of the screen, like for the entire game, as far as I can remember. And I don't know, it's just a very similar aesthetic going on, even like with the music. This kind of like Eastern jazz, or whatever you might want to call it.
I think is this just jazz? I don't know. This is very 1940s. It said 1940s when I was doing my research for it. It said, oh, we both got the same character. Yeah. So I don't, you know, like we've said, we're not the best examples of people who regularly play these games or know if they're any good. Like, it looks good, no doubt there. You know, the whole presentation of this is good, but we're not the, you know, as for gameplay, we can't tell you if the gameplay is any good.
Yep.
Also, are we the same character? Yeah.
Yeah. I generally believe this is probably an excellent fighting game. I just don't know.
Yeah, it seems like there's a lot, like, you know, me pressing buttons, I'm trying to guess what some of the combos are from, combos and special attacks are. Like that one, that's cool. Yeah. That's like a quarter circle down to away and circle, I think.
I mean, anybody who's a fan of fighting games watching us must be like
they must be dying inside it. It must be like watching it. It's like probably watching like a baby play like Super Mario Brothers for the first time, and them like getting beat by the first Goomba over and over again.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
like
cool.
When you give your mom the controller and you expect her to play like any game really, and they just don't have a clue what they're doing.
Yeah. Oh, you can hold the buttons to like hold back your attack. That's clever. Look, okay. If I hold circle and then I can time when she releases it, or I can do it quickly. So there's surely there's like a level of depth in this that obviously fans of fighting games will probably get a kick out of. Even like to. Yeah. See, I'm getting a few of these. Like, I think there's more. You know, the odd like quarter circle and button presses will do it. I wonder if like full circles do anything. They fire projectiles and stuff. But, like I
just got lucky from like spamming the top, like, you know, bumpers.
Like I feel that I'm like starting to work out a few of the things naturally anyway. It's like getting there. He says as he gets whomped, but I've got this one to come in as well, so
I hope we don't get hate mail for criticizing these character designs.
I don't think it's not the character design that the execution of these characters, like, they are well drawn, they're expressive, they're beautifully animated. It's just, for me, sometimes it's like, do they have to be like? It almost feels like they are they're just objectified, if you get me, and it makes it like you said, it's not something where you'd want your mom to walk in on you playing it. And I just think it's like, I don't know anything about these characters. Like, I feel like a lot of the key aspects to them are just their physical features. Do you know what I mean? Like this one I've picked, Valentine here, who's like, I guess she's a sexy nurse. Is that her job? Like, sexy nurse?
What is her occupation?
Yeah, like, who is she? What makes her tick? And I don't feel that characters always seem to portray that. It seems that we're just looking at the, body parts of them. Oh. Like you said, this one here, Peacock, the least raunchy of them.
Design. It's the worst design as well. Probably one of the, I'm going to say weirdest,
but it's quite interesting. I don't know what her crack on is, though.
Its silhouette's much better than the other characters, I'll say that much. Like,
oh, I can drop bombs on you and shoot cannons, and she says, like, pirate stuff. Whereas,
I would love just to have, like a breakdown of all the individual drawings for each of these attacks, just so I could, like, look at how, like, detailed each drawing is. Because there's some stuff that's on screen for probably, like, 1/30th of a second or something.
Oh, yeah, like a deep dive into the animation of this game would reveal some... oh, that was cool. What did you do there?
I don't know.
Pro gamer move, that's what that was, pal. Yeah, she's dealing cards or something, I don't know. Yeah, it'd be interesting. I'm sure someone somewhere will have done like a deep dive type crack on it there.
This is one thing I hate, right? I fucking hate, right? and this is more of a kind of an anime thing when you give characters cat ears. I just think it's so crap.
Well, is this whole thing Halloween themed? Is that it?
I don't think so.
Well, no, because look, she's in like the classic sexy nurse Halloween costume. You're like the black cat. She's the horror from beyond. I don't know. I think that's where my
like fucking nightmare. I mean, look at that. Look at it when I jump, when I'm this amorphous blob.
Yeah.
Oh, look, all those details that are just so quick, but add so much. I don't know why we pick fighting games. We have no fucking clue what we're talking about.
Nah, but yeah, next month we'll not be doing a fighting game. I mean, we got it out of the way. There you go. Have a fucking syringe. Yeah, we did our fighting game. There we go. I'll be
talking about football games. Like, I love Pro Evolution over FIFA for.
Yeah. But to be honest, this is not. We don't do this to be experts on a given genre. We do this to find interesting new games. Who knows? Like, last time round we were playing Nidhogg, and I'm glad we played that. That's an interesting game. That's a game I'll get out when I have mates round. When the world allows you to have mates round. But yeah, I won a part. Oh, look at that big cigar, big 40-style cigar.
Cigar smoke out of her nose.
Maybe's.
I think she did.
I like that Peacock character.
Yeah, we both play as Peacock. As our send off to Skullgirls.
Maybe's. Yeah,
our favourite character.
Triple Peacock action. Oh, I'm like mecha. Oh, look, you can. Oh no, these are. I don't know what I'm doing.
I don't know what that does.
Just stick to random. Oh, this is the one with you.
That's great.
I'm like Nega Peacock.
So there are story elements to this game. Like once you've done a fight, it does this like in an arcade mode.
Yeah.
It will give you like when we were playing. What was that game James did in like the basketball one that wasn't basketball? Pyre.
Super Giants Pyre.
Reams of text. It does that, and I can't be honest with that. I hate that kind of like slideshow presentation like approach. Like, I understand like in a game like this where the budget probably isn't huge, that's all you've got. But I don't know. I've seen some like larger games do it. And I'm like, oh, why are you doing this? This is so silly.
Yeah, this looks really good. I feel like if the whole thing had been a Fleischer.
I just love that little prod. Look at that. How great. And there's a little fist on the bit of wood.
Are you seeing this one where there's like a little ant that you like gets a magnifying glass on? And
That's great.
See that? The crow with a big boot out your hat.
Is it a crow?
I don't know. It looks like it.
Oh yeah, it kind of looks like one.
It's a crow with a tiny... It's a crow wearing a smaller version of her hat with a big boot on the end. Like, this is the level of design where, like, even the moves in the more, like, overtly sexualized characters, they are, like, the moves are really good and they're really interesting and they look, they're good to, the moves are good to look at.
Oh,
it's almost
great.
like focus on those. Focus on that funny run and stuff like that. Don't focus on their assets, for lack of a better word.
The Law's backward kick move.
Try it, pal. I feel I can still have you.
Okay.
Maybe not. I love the sounds though. The sound
what's the
design
word
is
people
great.
use? Cheesing them?
Yeah.
What do the kids say these days?
I don't know. I felt really old today. I was chatting in the I was chatting in the Discord, and I was chatting about Habbo Hotel, and
I read that.
Folk knew what it was, but I was like, oh good, at least someone's old enough to know what Habbo Hotel is, and the dude's like, I'm 23, but I still play it. I'm like, oh, get out, man. Get out with your 23, bless you, like, you're just a Ben. Like, I was like, you were definitely not playing Habbo Hotel legally when you were playing it. I'm sure you had to be of a certain age to play it, and you weren't. Yeah, it's oh no, it's out of our eye. That's gross. Yeah. Should we return to the main menu then and wrap this up? I don't know where you clicked. Yeah. So let's go in the... No, is it in the extras? Look, I'm gonna hide the credits on. Because look at this. So the first dude is the one we were talking about. But look at all these people involved in this game. And like,
oh man, so hang on.
So much talent. That's just Lab Zero, which is the one where they've that's the one guy dying on his hill now.
Mm-hmm.
But like, flipping around, just like listen to this music and that, and like all these people involved. Like, it takes a lot of people to
That's crazy, man.
to involve it. Do you know what I mean? And the really unfortunately named Willy Huang, which is bless him, like. He would have had a hard time at school. But, you know, these are all, like, really talented people, as we've seen from, like, the game they made. And, you know, while we may not agree with, like, the design choices made for some of the characters in this...
A lot of talented people here, man.
You can't argue against their execution. Clearly what they set out to do, they've achieved with, like, style and aplomb, even if we don't agree with the way the characters are put together. They have made what, apparently, fighting game fans... think is a good game, and so many people were involved in it, and they're all very talented, and one person may have ruined it for all of them.
Count the contractors. That's how many animators it takes to put together, like, even something like this. Like, look at them. This big long list of people.
Yeah.
Oh, more cleanup animators.
What does that entail, Archie?
Cleanup, basically, usually, well, unless it's the definitions change, because I'm a bit out of the animation loop now, but generally you would do your scruffy animation. That would be usually done by your lead animator, who get, like, the basic posing down, and cleanups passed on where they kind of take the scratchier drawings and just tidy them up. So that's something more like you would see. It's something that's kind of production ready.
Okay. So I guess it's like, you know, someone who doesn't really know that much about it. Like when you see the animatics and storyboards, they are like close to the start end of things, and the cleanup folk will be like the later end of the process.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
Like no one wants to do cleanup because cleanup's tedious as fuck. But
yeah,
I guess it's like the QA of animation cleanup.
You're dealing with
all done. You've just got to deal with like cleaning up the mess.
Yeah, the work's done, but it's not done. You've just got a lot of shit to sift through to make like something that is like good at its core, be good to the people using it. I mean, look at this. Like, this is the thing.
God,
like,
how many people? This is crazy. Like,
I know.
Good on you all. I know. We've said some like things we didn't understand about this, but congrats to every single one of these people.
No, I think they're. This is the thing. Like, that's what I hated when I was researching this, and I'm like, oh geez, like the news stories surrounding this game are like one guy and his inappropriate behavior. So now if you are any one of these people who've worked on this game and been involved in this project, when people look for your game, you'll be like, hey, yeah, I worked on this game, search for it, and they're like, and the search results they get is one dude who seemingly doesn't know how to behave appropriately around women. Like, that seems to be what's happened. Oh, there's your QA pals. By the way, there's some QA folk for you. The cleanup artists of
the cleanup arts.
The cleanup artists of
volunteers
of game design. Yeah, these are people who flipping volunteered. You know what I mean? It's like, Jesus, like so many people involved, and it's just like.
Although, like, if you're looking to get in the industry, in all honesty, I would maybe always get paid for the work you do.
Yes, I think that's true for like almost every industry you work in. If you, I know, like not many people. It's annoying because people are like, you need experience. How do you experience? Like, by working, but it's got that hard cycle going on with it. But I think if you work for free, I think you devalue what you do. Obviously, a lot of people will be like, we don't have any other choice and we just need experience. But unless if someone turns around and goes, yeah, well, I'll give you exposure or shit like that, like, nah, I think that's a big red flag. Whenever anyone goes, oh well, it'll get you experience or it'll get you exposure or whatever, it's like, that's not fair. I think if anyone really values the work you're doing for them, they will pay you for it.
Yeah,
I think in any given industry. Otherwise, I don't think that people worth working for.
Yeah, because I mean, if it benefits you in the long run, then great. But I'd always say if you're going to do some work for a company, just make sure you get some form of payment, even if you just do a day and they pay you like a tiny, not even like a good amount. Just make sure you get some money for it because it's your work at the end of the day, and
it shows that a big company will value. It shows that they value you, even if you come in for one day to do some like internship or whatever. It's like the idea of like unpaid internships. It's like, no, the person's still doing work for you. Maybe don't pay them the same amount as someone who's like experienced and qualified in what you're getting them to do. But geez, even if you're in a studio like making the teas for folk, pay the people. If you value what they're doing, just pay them. It's not that hard. It's like on the flip side, you wouldn't work for free. I bet you a lot of the people at the head of these companies that are like offering unpaid internships, etc., or getting people to volunteer, I bet you they wouldn't work for free.
They wouldn't give this game away for free, would they?
They wouldn't give the game away for free. They wouldn't accept no money for it. When you look at some of the heads of like AAA who are getting like disgustingly large bonuses at the end of each year and are closing down studios as well, you're like, well, hang on. If you did your job that well, surely studios that you own wouldn't have to close, for example.
A frightening amount of people have worked on this game.
I know, it's indie, but it's
AAA.
I think it started. I think it was partly funded by. I think it was crowdfunded initially. I think that's how it got off the ground. Like, so obviously there was a good idea at the core of it, and people liked what they saw and were like, "Yep, we can get it. We'll put our money where our mouth is and get this off the ground." Fuzzy interns. Sorry, they're credits for the doggos.
That might be a drawing you would get back from your lead animator. Even then, that's probably too clean. And then somebody would go in and clean that up.
Yeah, that's... Jesus, so many people are involved to get like a game off the ground. It's just...
Sammy Pancake.
Is that's got to be a pseudonym, right? Sorry, I mean, like, I'm not bothered what anyone's name is, but like, fucking hell. how do you end up with the surname Pancake? Like, it's gotta be a pseudonym. I don't know what kind of etymology would end up with the name Pancake. You know, most family names come from like jobs or origins. I'm going to come back to this and be like, right, I found out the origin of the surname Pancake. But
Henry Moriarty.
I know. I still feel bad for the dude named Willie Huang. Right, these are gotta be pseudonyms because there's no way someone's called Japanese Ken. There you go. That solved it. Japanese Ken. Oh, and there you go. There you go. And the Indiegogo. And
good job, everybody. You've made something.
And the Indie Bandits. There we go. There we go. And
I'd say we're the most important people, to be honest.
I think that's why they saved us until last, Archie, because we are essentially the best people in this project.